Hey guys, and down here, this is going to be my chapter review to My Hero Academia or Boku no Hero Academia 275 Encounter Part 2. Now, apologies for how late this review has been. I've recorded it, I recorded it yesterday, and I think I might have tried to record it beforehand, but I've been having some technical issues with both this camera and my webcam. Actually, yesterday when I recorded it with my webcam, the audio and the video was so out of sync, it was just horrific, so I didn't actually release that, and I'm now going to re-record it, hopefully at a faster pace, and it should be okay. So, what's the first thing that happened? What did we learn that was new? So the first thing, Shigaraki, he's bounding towards both Bakugo and Deku, and he's talking about his quirk, which comes with the souvenir. Talking about the Ragdoll's quirk, search, and he says all the data on people the previous user saw up to the second the quirk got stolen from them is still part of this quirk. So everyone that Ragdoll has ever looked at, she was able to reveal their location for him, but also analyze the weaknesses of their quirks, the weaknesses of that user. She still has all of that data in her quirk for some strange reason, and Shigaraki has all of that data. So it didn't just kind of download to her short-term / long-term memory or somewhere within her brain. It, for some reason, it imprinted all over her quirk, and when her quirk got given to Shigaraki, he now has all of that data. So I thought that was pretty weird, but I'm okay with it. I think it's one of those ones where I kind of have to accept it, but just thinking about it from a kind of physiological perspective, I don't think that would be, if quirks were a real thing, I don't think that's how they'd work. But Shigaraki, yeah, like I said, he leaps straight towards both Bakugo and Deku, and Endeavor chases him, and all the while Endeavor's just talking to Deku over Link, and he's saying, what are you talking about? Deku's trying to explain to him, yeah, I think Shigaraki's coming after me, and he knows Shigaraki's coming after him, but he's just like, yeah, I can't spot him right now, but if he changes direction, let me know. And then we actually get this really funny scene. So let's just talk about this for a second. Shigaraki, even though we see him use a few new quirks, he doesn't have quite 100% complete control over them. So the little nuances and stuff like that, he's ill prepared for, and he doesn't really understand. So he just leapt at an incredible pace with incredible strength through the air, and he traveled probably kilometers, but he didn't realize, or he just doesn't have the strength yet to brace himself as he lands. So his legs make contact with the ground in a strong fashion. The form looks amazing, but his upper body, his torso, just goes whoop into the ground, and he breaks probably his neck, his shoulder, probably his collarbone, a few ribs maybe. But due to his hyper regeneration, this isn't an issue. So I thought that was funny. I thought that was accurate, and I like the fact that Shigaraki still isn't in complete control, or still isn't aware of how to utilize these quirks properly. But I'm also thinking, this was something that he's still only 75% complete, right? He didn't ever complete his kind of upgrade, so he should still be seeing drawbacks from this, and I'm hoping we get to see this in the next 1 or 2 chapters, where some of his quirks possibly ain't fire, well, they probably don't fire correctly, or maybe he just gets more fatigued, or maybe his body just gives up on him and is like, nah, I'm peacing out. I'm hoping we see something that suggests or shows us a little bit more of the fact that he only hit 75%. Anyway, Endeavor's there trying to kill this guy, and as soon as he alters course, Endeavor's like, holy shit, he's actually heading towards where I think Deku is. And Deku's like, okay, yeah, cool, I'm fine with him coming towards me, thank you, I'm going to buy some time for the evacuation effort. But what this is doing for Endeavor, and what this will do for Aizawa at the end of the chapter, is they now realize that Shigaraki seems to be going for either Deku or Bakugo. Deku's the one who's made contact with Endeavor here, so Endeavor will probably assume he's after Deku, he's after Midoriya. So they're both going to ask the same question, yo, Deku, why is he after you in particular? What did you do to this guy that he feels he needs to come for you? And they already know about the beef between All For One and All Might, One For All. They already know about All Might's quirk, kind of, I think. So I think at some point they're going to have to kind of draw the lines together and say, holy shit, you've got a quirk which is very similar to All Might's, and you're being chased, you're being hunted down by the disciple of the guy, by the successor of All For One. So it kind of makes sense that you would be the successor of One For All. Do you have that quirk? I'm hoping something like that happens. I feel like Endeavor and Aizawa really need to know that. Not just because I feel like they deserve it. Like they're trying to protect Midoriya here. But I feel like it's also safer for those two in particular to know that Deku has One For All, because Deku's going to need as much backup as he can. He can't fight Shigaraki as he is right now. So Shigaraki's just there thinking about the fact that Endeavor's linked up to all these other heroes, and he's like, yeah, I need to put an end to that sometime soon. But before that, Endeavor shouts to everyone. He's like, okay, listen up, everyone. Shigaraki's changed tack. He's gone southwest. He's got hyper regeneration now, so he's just making sure everyone's aware. But he's also thinking about how Deku's actually luring him away, and he's confused about that. He's like, why is he targeting the kid? Anyway, we then see Deku, and we see this really funny bit where he's talking to Bakugo, and he's just like, okay, yeah, he's finally coming our way. And Bakugo's just like, yeah, I heard that scumbag's changed into some sort of monster. But what Deku's surprised about here is that Bakugo's actually following him, or actually not even following him. He's just stuck with him. He's actually they're going side by side. He's his companion for now. So he's like, why are you actually following me? And Bakugo's just like, look, dude, use your freaking head. We're short on time, and I'm the only guy who actually knows about your deal with One for All and All for One, and I don't need a long-winded explanation. So I think what he's trying to say here is, you can't go off by your wands. You can't go off individually, because that would raise too much suspicion. If I go with you, being someone that already knows your situation and won't ask questions, we can both draw suspicion that way. We can divide the suspicion between us. So maybe we can say we knew something or something like that. So I think that's a better way to interpret it. I might be interpreting it completely wrong, but that's how I was thinking of it. Anyway, Deku's just like, oh yeah, thanks thanks for that. But Bakugo, then goes on to provide a couple more reasons. He's like, don't get a big head about it. He actually breaks the fourth wall here. He's like, you think you're the main character now or something? And I was like, okay. But one of his reasons is he has unfinished business with Shigaraki, and he blames himself again for putting an end to All Might. So he's just like, One for All is just a bait. I'm using you as just a bait because I'm the guy who's going to get payback for that day, for All Might's end. It's the perfect chance to rack up a win. And I feel like this would have made more sense if Bakugo had said it in a really serious manner. But Horikoshi gave him a crazy appearance here with his eyes kind of a little bit wobbly and kind of, I'm not sure what the word is. Like his eyes are, it looks like a ripple's going through the outside. And I really think that this wasn't the expression that Bakugo should have had, especially considering on that same page Bakugo's expression at the top when he's like, since I'm the guy who put an end to All Might. I feel like this is more of a friendly moment for Bakugo rather than a crazy moment. And then if he clocked on that he was being a little too friendly and he was like, get it, just don't trip me up, I would have been happy with that. So his reasons so far have been, I know about you, One for All and All for One. I still feel responsible for being the demise of All Might essentially, and his heroism. And then he goes on to give his third reason, which is he knows a lot about Deku's training, about Deku's ability. So he's like, Deku can use full cal at 30% now. He can use 45% at the moment of impact, so it keeps him from wrecking his body. He's trained with Endeavor. He's trained with All Might on a one-to-one basis in particular. And he talks about some of his jealousy, how he has to grit his teeth every time Deku gets stronger, because naturally he's going to get stronger. He's only using 30% of his quirk, and he's got a few more quirks to add on to that. So he's like, what I liked here was Bakugo is like, I'm not going to be left behind. Even if he's moving at this 30% speed of his, I'm not going to be left behind. And he flashes back to when Deku used to follow him, and now he's kind of following Deku, kind of mirroring their relationship from back then to now. And then he thinks back to when he said, I'll take Deku's growth and make it kind of like something to compete against, something to rise higher than Deku in. So even if you've made him the chosen one, he's referring to All Might here, he's not going to lose to him. So I really liked that part. I thought it was cool. And getting to see a few of Bakugo's motivations was quite nice. So then what do we see next? We see Shigaraki use a couple of his new quirks. He puts his hand down, he has a hole in his palm, and he says, okay, a nice air blast. So he fires off an air blast, but intertwined in this air blast, or in this, it might be air blasts, but I think it was just one giant one, he puts in some radio waves, which absolutely destroys any of the electronics nearby. You can see in the page after that. So not only does he actually blow away Endeavor, I think we don't see where Endeavor is, but he destroys all these electronics. Burning is stood there and her earpiece is going haywire. And at that exact moment, Shigaraki pops up in front of Deku and Bakugo. An amazing double spread. Everything's blacked out, like Nanatsu no Taizai if Chandler just popped up with the Eternal Darkness kind of thing. It looks insane. And Deku and Bakugo, they both started crumbling. I thought they were decaying, and I was like, holy shit, are they actually decaying right now? I was so confused for a while, but I think the way this worked out was Deku's narrating here. He says, we got a taste of it last summer in Kamino. So I think he was talking about how... Well, I think what this was kind of showing was they weren't actually being decayed. Deku and Bakugo weren't actually being decayed because they'd be dead otherwise. What this was it was that fear of death. they see Shigaraki and they shit themselves, and that was the feeling they got, which is why they were sweating later on. But I thought it was really, really cool here how Shigaraki is just extending his hand, and he's like, the voice in my head is telling me, I just gotta have one for all. Give me one for all. Midoriya Izuku, or Izuku Midoriya, I think it's the other way around. But yeah, that looked insane. So the next thing we actually see is Gran Torino darting in like a lightning bolt and grabbing both Deku and Bakugo, and he pulls them out of there. He's like, "You two are dipshits. If you guys, were you guys actually thinking of scrapping with that thing?" But I really like how it just shows once again how intelligent Gran Torino is. This guy has been with One For All since Nana, but he's been an absolute. He's just been the best possible companion, teacher, and friend. I mean, like the dude's just been. He literally says, when I heard One For All over the comms, I had a really bad feeling. So what did he do? He made his way straight towards where Deku was and where Bakugo were. So what we get here is he just talks about how Shigaraki's decay has gone absolutely apeshit. Even if a piece of rubble that's decaying lands on you, you're as good as dead. He's like, you guys don't stand a chance right now, but there are other heroes. The heroes are still here. We ain't out of the picture yet. So as Shigaraki lands, he gets hit by a full dragon formed Ryukyu. And I was shitting my pants here as kind of Shigaraki puts out his hand to grab Ryukyu's paw. Is that what you call it? Her mitts? I don't know what you call them. But she looks absolutely insane to begin with. But his decay doesn't work, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? And he just gets dashed straight through the air. And we see this dude limping with his right leg possibly bust. So this is something to make mention of. His maneuverability might be messed up because of this. But it turns out it's Aizawa, it's Eraserhead. And he's looking directly at Shigaraki. So he's there thinking about both Deku and thinking about Bakugo. He's like, why was Shigaraki targeting them? Why is he going after those kids? So like I said at the beginning, I'm hoping Aizawa actually gets a bit of an answer here as to why these kids were both Deku and Bakugo were being targeted. Anyway, he thinks on Crust and how basically Crust kept him alive. He thinks back on Kurogiri and how he basically kept him alive. And he makes a kind of silent pledge to himself where he's like, the reason why I'm alive right now is to take down Shigaraki. That's the only reason why I'm alive. So I love that he's got that resolve. And he also says, don't you dare lay a rotten finger on my students. I thought that was so badass. But that ends, and you see Shigaraki just looking towards Aizawa, and he's like, you really are pretty cool, Eraserhead. So I thought that was a nice kind of wrap up. But the issue I have here is Aizawa's there, and there's death flags all over the place. With the whole Dr. Ujiko thing, where he was like, I've forgotten Kurogiri's original name, but he was talking about how they weren't actually going for Kurogiri's quirk, they were going after Aizawa's quirk, and now Aizawa is facing directly against Shigaraki, who could possibly steal his quirk. So I'm just like, I don't know how this is going. I don't really want Aizawa to die or even lose his quirk at this point, but that seems to be the way this is going, so I'm not sure how this is going to go. Deku and Bakugo have both been pulled out of there. I think they're going to get reunited with Ochako and the rest of them. So props to Gran Torino for that. But Shigaraki doesn't look like he's concerned in the slightest. But then again, Aizawa is probably the perfect, well, not even the perfect, is a slight foil to him right now with his quirk erasing abilities. So let me know what you guys thought of this review. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I will see you guys in a bit.